So my friend Lara had this great idea to have a New Year's Day brunch where we would talk about our aspirations for the next year. And I found this just like really fun and really enlightening, and like it was such a positive social event. And I'm gonna put in some videos of this event happening. Like, I had so much fun doing this because I'm actually house sitting right now at my friend Sammy's house. She has the best house and the best dogs and like other animals. But like they also have incredible kitchen stuff. So I was just able to like host in a way that I never would have been able to otherwise, because they have all these incredible like glasses and like the stuff that you get when, like, you know, after you're married, like all this like the nice cutlery and like the perfect trays for entertaining, and like I just felt really great about it. And made some good vegetarian breakfast, and my friend Lara brought the classic orange juice and prosecco, which was so atmospheric and like just made me feel good. And like, yeah, we got a bit drunk day drinking, and it was very fun. So I didn't do a lot for New Year's Eve. Me and my friends kind of agreed the next day that it's kind of a high pressure holiday. Like, there's a lot of pressure on New Year's to have a good time, and I find that a lot of things are like overpriced. And also living in Bermuda, a lot of people are just away for New Year's, so it gets complicated, and like I find that often I have very high expectations and then I don't end up having a good time, and I feel really bad about it. So I was really excited this year when my friend Lara introduced this idea, because I could consciously say on New Year's Eve that I was spending the night alone in order to focus on these aspirations and like map them out and get them straight in my head in preparation for the brunch tomorrow. So it felt really like transformative, restorative, like reflective. So I put on the outfit that I wore to the New Year's Day brunch again, and I want to kind of talk about my aspirations for next year so that I can like document my journey and keep myself accountable. And I'm definitely not someone who usually makes New Year's resolutions. Like, I feel like I always had the mindset like, oh, that's dumb, like if you're gonna make a change you can just do it at any time. But I think it's really helpful to like actually look at the big picture, and I think I have found it helpful to think about the whole year ahead and like what that's gonna look like. So I think I've kind of changed my stance on like the value of resolutions. I also saw this like quote from Untitled Chapter in like her most recent video saying something like, people who make New Year's resolutions are more likely to grow than people who don't, even if they fail at like achieving their resolution or whatever. And yeah, it's just something that I don't often do, is like set goals. I just kind of like take things as they come. So yeah, I'm excited to do it now. Oh my gosh, I think I've just seen a bluebird, which is interesting for this time of year. Yeah, anyway, so the New Year's Day brunch was a really good idea by Lara, and she got this idea from another influencer who I forget the name of, but yeah, it was structured around like 6 categories of like aspirations, and it was all about saying like, this is an aspiration, like this is the best case scenario, like this is what you're aiming for, but it's not as like concrete as a resolution or a goal, which can sometimes feel too like daunting or like pressurized. Which I kind of like. I have like a notebook here where I wrote it. The categories are aspirations for your lifestyle, something emotional, something intellectual, your social life, a big challenge, and your hobby. What most of these focus on is just like me procrastinating less and like actually achieving the identity I want for myself, which I see as like very creative, like artistic, and producing writing as well, and very active and outdoorsy, and like documenting the things that I see there, because I already have an Instagram account where I talk about Bermuda's marine life, and I share things that I see, like beachcombing or snorkeling. I find that really exciting, and I love being able to communicate, like do a bit of scientific communication, like share the species I see, document the species I see, and through that learn about like conservation and natural history. So these are kind of structured around that. So my one for lifestyle is I want to go on a walk before work every day, and this is like sort of doable because I start work at 10 most of the time because it's 10 to 6 instead of 9 to 5 because my boss lives in a different time zone. So this should be doable, and I like the idea of doing it in the morning because it just gets dark like too early in the evening now, and I think you're less likely to meet like weird people if you go in the morning. So I think that's pretty doable, and it's just a question of like, I think getting out of bed instead of like scrolling through social media and like saying to myself that it is a good and fun thing, because I often convince myself like, oh, you're just gonna walk exactly where you did yesterday, it's kind of boring, I'm not motivated to do it, but like every time that I do it, I have a really good time. And then I have a few for emotional. So I want to meditate and journal daily. I've never really done meditation before, but I know some people who have, including my brother. Like, he says it's really helpful for him, and I just think that it would be helpful for me as well, because I used to journal like every day religiously when I was in middle school and high school, and I just found it extremely helpful for processing emotion, and I felt so much clarity and I felt so present when I would do it. But yeah, I kind of fell off the wagon with it. And I think meditation would be able to kind of replace that role of journaling in my life, like where if I carve out some time to like say, okay, I'm actually going to sit and process things, or like, I guess the kind of objective of meditation is to like not think about anything, but like for me, I think it might be a bit of both. Like, it's giving myself time to actually work through my emotions, reflect on things, think about things that I don't allow myself now, and then being able to get to a point of clarity where I don't think about anything, rather than feeling overwhelmed. But yeah. Also, I kind of put this as maybe I could meditate for like 10 to 15 minutes, like right when I get up, because the morning feels like meditation time rather than like the evening. But I'm a bit already like, you know, will this really work? Like, am I just gonna fall back asleep if I do that? Like, yeah, because whatever. Sometimes I find it hard to get out of bed, and I find myself just scrolling through Reddit or whatever. I deleted the Reddit app from my phone. This is something I've done before, but like hopefully I can keep it off my phone, because it does just like, sometimes I find myself like lying in bed for like an hour instead of getting up. Yeah, just scrolling through it. So yeah, I'm trying to like meditate first, then maybe I'll have clarity and it'll be easy to like start my day, but we'll see. I didn't do it this morning, and today's January 2nd, so come on. But maybe I can do it later in the day. Yeah, and then I actually revised my idea to journal daily because I think meditation could fill that role, and I found it extremely difficult to journal for the past few years. Like, maybe it served me at one point in my life, like when I used to do it every day in like middle school, high school and stuff, but maybe it just doesn't serve me anymore. And instead of like beating myself up and saying, oh god, you should do this, like it makes you feel better, like you should do it, and then never doing it, maybe I should just try something else. So I scrapped the idea of journaling daily, and instead I want to keep an art journal, and I think this will fulfill like quite a few of my aspirations because it will allow me to be creative and also document you know, beachcombing finds and like nature spots and things like that, and record it, do little sketches, whatever. And also my emotions. So that's kind of like my idea for what this art journal will be. Like, maybe if I don't want to write pages about my emotions as I would in a daily journal at night, I could just document my activities by doing a sketch of like something cool I saw, or you know, putting like a pressed like plant in it or something, and you know, accompany it with little notes if I want to. So I see it as somewhere where I can record nature observations and document my days, be a bit creative, so that's like also an added benefit. Like, it'll be somewhere where I can go every day and do a small like low pressure piece of art. And also, if I want to, use it like a journal and write my emotions. So yeah, I'm really excited about that, and like, I'm glad that I thought of that instead of trying to force myself to just do a traditional like diary journal thing. But I have to get an appropriate like sketchbook for it, which I won't be able to do until probably next weekend. But I'm so excited for that. And like I'm even considering today, like, oh, I could just do some stuff on random bits of paper and like paste it in later, which I might do, but it's just like hard to keep track of that stuff, and like I don't want to use printer paper, so I'll think about it. Yeah, I also said under emotional that I want to use my agenda regularly to plan and to track emotions. So I got this like really nice journal that's made specifically for bullet journaling after I saw someone on YouTube make a video about it, because it's like an eco-friendly company called Dingbats, and yeah, I got this Arctic one where like it has a nice like intro to like the poles and stuff, which I like, and then it's dotted so you can do whatever you want, because pretty much like I think I'm like a stationery snob, and I find it really hard to find journals and materials that I actually like to use. But the reason that I like this so much is because the paper is like pretty much bleed proof, like you can't really notice it very much, and I can, with a dotted paper, I can do whatever design I want to make the journal work for me. And so while it's a bit more work to like actually do the layout yourself, I find it kind of fun, and I think it will be ultimately better than buying a pre-made journal that I'm like okay about but don't 100% love. So yeah, I think hopefully it'll be like a bit of a creative thing for me, and I want it to be somewhere where I can just look to every day for direction. Like I want to really implement it every day and use it, and I want to use it a bit like a bullet journal too, where I can track certain metrics about my life. So I did like I did 2 weeks yesterday, like the past week and next week, just laid it out and tried to put in if I read or if I walked, or if I did something creative, and then I put little notes to help me plan things. Because again, I used to keep an agenda so well when I was in school, like especially middle school, and then I totally never did it at university. I think probably partly because I didn't have a lot going on. Like my degree wasn't like super demanding, to be honest, like compared to a lot of other people's. And so, yeah, I wasn't in the habit because I didn't have a ton of stuff to keep track of. But now I'm kind of looking at it like I want to fill my time and I want to have a lot of things to do, and like maybe I can use a planner to, you know, really lay out that time and like enforce blocks of time where I'm creating things so that I have stuff to do, if that makes sense. So yeah, that's something that I definitely want to do, is use the agenda, use it, incorporate it into my life, and recreate that habit, and track emotions and things. So the next one is intellectual, and I put that I want to read more, especially nonfiction. Yeah, I watch a lot of booktubers now, and I've actually found, like, in the few months I've been watching them, it has really inspired me and made me want to read more, and the books that I have read have been recommended by them, so I've really valued, like, you know, people giving quick rundowns of the book, like, a bit of a summary, a bit of the vibe, and it really invigorates me to want to read it. So, yeah, I picked up Island of the Sea Women because of that, and also Memorial, which I almost finished. I really enjoyed Island of the Sea Women. I have mixed feelings about Memorial. I don't know if I really like it, but I'm almost finished, so I'm going to finish it. And yeah, the nonfiction thing, I just feel like nonfiction is something I never considered reading. Like, I'm definitely, this is a whole bigger conversation, but I'm definitely someone who, you know, reads things because I feel like I should. Like, you know, I try and force myself to read the classics or like some crazy book that everyone, like, that has like an academic reputation, or like you should read this and be intellectual about it. And like I just find that exhausting now. Like, I think I have this big like thing about prestige and like being pretentious in me, and like it's so dumb. Like, you should just read the books that you want to read and that you find entertaining. So I think like thinking that has helped me to read more. But anyway, I never read nonfiction because I was always like, I have to read these crazy pretentious fiction books that are so intelligent. But nonfiction is such an underutilized resource, I think, because like it's so good to continue your learning past school age. So, you know, it's just incredible. Like, I can't believe I haven't read that much before. And yeah, during this like New Year's Day brunch, my friend Meg was saying that as well. Like, nonfiction is just so good to continue your learning. So yeah, I want to do that. The other thing under here is take more courses. So this is also related to continuing to learn. Like, there's actually so many courses that are free or very inexpensive that you can get a lot of value from. And I put here I want to take ones on philosophy, geography, and art history. These are all subjects that I never took in school, but I've always been really interested in. But I think it's hard to just like self-teach yourself about them. I don't know, I'm especially thinking about philosophy. Like, I'd love to just take like a little intro course, the principles and like overarching themes are explained to me, and then I'll be able to like pursue, you know, people that I'm interested in and read some more like philosophical works. Like, I'd be really into that. But I feel like I really need to be taught at the beginning because I find it overwhelming to do it by myself, and I wouldn't know where to start. And related to this, I just signed up for a poetry course with the Department of Community and Cultural Affairs in Bermuda, and I'm really excited about this. Like, I've taken a poetry course with them before when I was like much younger, and I just think it's going to be so fun, and it's a totally free course, and it's just nice to have that carved out time to do your craft. I know that it's going to make me create work that I wouldn't have otherwise, so I'm happy about that. Next up is social life, and there's a lot of things I could have put for social life. For example, I think a big thing in my life is like, I want to be able to keep in touch better with my friends. And like, I think I might just add this as well. I want to start sending letters to my friends. Because the reason I didn't put like, keep in touch better with my friends is like, I have no adequate system to do this. I have no plan to do this. Like, it's something I've always struggled with. But during the New Year's brunch, Meg was talking about how she sends letters to her friends and how it's really rewarding and exciting to receive and like a nice break from being digital. And I have actually discussed this with one of my friends, Chris, so I think I'm going to do this, like send letters to my friends abroad. And yeah, the one that I put under social life is start a YouTube channel. And this could have been under like the big challenge as well, but I see it as something where hopefully it will improve my like public speaking skills and like give me clarity about my own identity through making videos about me that will also make my social life better. And yeah, fundamentally, like, YouTube is social media, and like, yeah, hopefully I'll be able to interact with other creators and like, yeah, see what that's about. I've always wanted to start a YouTube channel, and I've always found it really difficult to think about doing because I'm just like, it's gonna be so cringe. Like, that's literally what I think. Like, I want to make videos about like me. I want to make vlogs. I don't want to make like informative videos on YouTube because I think it would be super time consuming and difficult. I admire people that do it, but yeah, I want to make vlogs, and then I'm just like, that is cringe. Like, I don't know, like, and the thing is, when I watch other people's vlogs, I don't think they're cringe at all, but I just think starting to do it and like, I just can't even fathom. So a lot of the time, like a lot of the barrier to starting a YouTube channel for me, I think, is just like the mindset of what I want to do. And now I think I've kind of arrived at like an adequate sort of mindset, which is like, I want to use it to document my life and keep me accountable for my goals and to be a creative outlet in itself. So like, yeah, I enjoy video editing, and I just want to use it to like be kind of a video journal of my life and what I'm doing, my beachcombing finds, like my emotional like discoveries, like I don't know, like, yeah, just to hopefully like grow me as a person and see how that goes. The next one is the big challenge. And for these, I put much more like cut and dry things, which was learn to dive and write a book. I think I can probably only realistically do one in the next year. I don't know. Maybe I can do more than one. Yeah, I feel like, you can do a lot of really incredible nature exploration without learning to dive. Like even in the ocean, like you can go beachcombing, you can go rock pooling, you can do shallow water snorkeling, which can be very rewarding. And so for a long time I've been like, I don't need to dive, like there's all this great stuff. But now I don't know, I just feel like a lot of people I know dive, and a lot of people I've met through Instagram dive, and it seems really fun, and it seems like a skill that, yeah, for lack of a better thing to say, like it would be on brand for me. My friend Chris introduced me to that. And I think it would be fun. In the past, like I have my junior open water, which I got when I was very young, but I never did anything beyond that, and like I've forgotten everything, so I would have to like relearn, like do a refresher. But I struggled then to equalize, and I just want to know if it's like something I'm doing, like me being nervous or something, or if it's actually like something physiological. Yeah, so hopefully I'll be able to dive and like be able to be really comfortable in the water, and yeah, I just think it would be fun. Like to go deeper and to go to shipwrecks, like, Eastern Blue Cod or like North Rock would be incredible diving. Yeah, so write a book. I'm just attracted to this. And like to give some context, whatever, I studied creative writing at university, and I love creative writing, and I think that I'm good at it, and I think that I understand the craft of it and the challenge of it. And I just have this thought in my head, like, a lot of people say they want to write a book. Very few people actually complete a manuscript. And then I'm just kind of like, once you complete a manuscript, like, that is a huge first step. Like, it would be a smaller step to get it published after that. And maybe this is really, really naive, because I know that it's a huge struggle to get published and to get a book deal and things like that. But I just keep thinking in my mind, like, if I was able to complete a manuscript that I was actually happy with, that would be a huge achievement, and getting published after that would almost be like nothing. Like, the biggest issue is like getting a manuscript that's good, that's finished. And I've never even been close to that. So I don't know. I just, yeah, if I was able to write a book in a year, that would be a huge accomplishment. And yeah, I'm going on and on about this, but like, I'm interested in like fantasy fiction, like writing that. Also interested in like contemporary fiction, writing something like that. But also a book of short stories or a book of poetry. And like, in some ways, writing one of those I think it would be easier, quicker, more within reach for me than like a novel. So yeah, it doesn't necessarily have to be a novel. And the last one on this list is a hobby. So I wrote, carve out time each week to be creative with art or writing, and I put like maybe a 2-hour chunk per week. And I think this is really doable. Like, I think I actually have a lot of free time, but I procrastinate compulsively, like all the time. Like, I'm just like, oh, I'm exhausted from work, let me just like read Reddit or like watch YouTube for a bit, and then it turns into my whole night is lost to that. And I really don't want to do that. Like, I used to be so creatively motivated and like always making something new and producing stuff, and like I don't really do that anymore. So I'm hoping that even to just say, 2 hours per week, like just do it, like one night a week even, or like one weekend morning or something. Hopefully I'll be able to like create something, and then it will motivate me to do more, because if I create something, then I'll have something to edit, or I'll have like another offshoot idea, or like stuff like that. So that's what I want to do. I don't really know if I have like a huge big plan for all of these, like defined ways to make them happen, but at least I've kind of set these intentions, aspirations for 2022. I didn't really film a conclusion, so I thought I would just do a quick voice note sum up of my thoughts over some footage of a walk I went on with my mom later on New Year's Day. It was just really beautiful on South Shore on New Year's Day. It was like flat calm, and we must have gotten there like exactly at the beginning of golden hour, so it was just this incredible light for our whole walk. And I met this this really incredible fluffy bear dog thing, and my mom knew the owner, so I got to like sit there and pat him for a while my mom and the owner talked, and it was great because he was so large. But yeah, I just want to say that I really enjoyed this experience. I would recommend it to anyone who wants to try it out. Yeah, like from my position, I had never tried to really do meaningful New Year's resolutions before. So I found it like very enlightening and like very motivating for the next year. Whether I actually follow through with all these things obviously remains to be seen. Like it could just be like, oh, I'm so fired up now, but like could lose energy. But I really hope that I'm able to implement these things in my life. And I think this week I'm actually going to try to do something that Meg suggested, which is like try out time blocking, which I've never done. Like I'm just going to set myself like my own little homework for each day so that I don't end up procrastinating. Instead, like, okay, I have to do like a sketch today, or I have to do like some images for poetry, something like that, where it's like achievable and like hopefully inspires me to do something cool, instead of just like tuning out. So yeah, I really hope that I can have some good energy for 2022, and just continue to grow and develop. And I'd really encourage anyone who's interested in this whole idea to definitely try it out. So yeah, Happy New Year!